What's up, YouTube? I got this four-wheeler frame here on a trade, along with a few other things, and it's a Chinese four-wheeler. It looked real goofy when I got it. I've already done some work to the back end of it. I lengthened the frame. I lowered this section right here, put a better shock under it, and made a custom shock mount here. Made a shock mount down there. This shock could be adjustable on the upper part to make it softer and harder. I've also trimmed a lot of stuff off the back that I didn't need and cleaned it up. Now what I need to do is take my front end apart because it just looks goofy compared to the back end. It's way too narrow. I'm going to extend my control arms and make it have a longer travel suspension, and that's also going to make the four-wheeler wider. This is my seat that I'm putting on it. It came off my street bike that I cut up for my Jeep. I want a big, nice, comfortable seat on here. That way I can double somebody and it's actually pretty comfortable. I'm going to try to get enough area here where I can put 2 sets of pegs. I also have a set of back tires for it already. This is the same size rim as this is. I should be able to put these tires on these rims and have a lot bigger, more aggressive tire on the back. The front tires I'm not really sure about yet. I'm gonna have to hunt something down. I definitely want some better front tires. I also have hubs and brakes that originally I had on my Jeep, and the thing was just too heavy for them. They're hydraulic drum brakes off a Honda TRX 200. I'm probably going to put them on the front of this so I have some front brakes also. Now what we're going to do is start tearing this front end apart and figure out how to extend these control arms. Alright, I'm going to start by taking these wheels off, just taking everything apart. I already took the foot pegs off and most of the wiring harness. So now, take these front wheels off here. Now all we need to do is take our shock bolts off here and our control arm bolts. Alright, this is what the four-wheeler came with on it. They are very small drum brakes that are mechanical. They work by a cable. See, it spins, press that in, it stops it. These are off a Honda TRX 200, and they're drum brakes also, but they're a lot bigger and they're hydraulic. Both of them just have a thing, it's almost like a go-kart setup. It's just a little spindle there, so I can weld this to whatever I want to. Also, I have the wheels that bolt to this. They are also 8-inch wheels, just like the wheels that came off of it, but they have bald tires, so I should be able to take these tires off and put them on the rims, which I want to get a bigger tire anyways, but these will do for now. Alright, what we're going to do here is I have my control arm, the old spindle and brakes and all that. All I need off of here are these housings for the bushings and the bushings themselves. So I'm going to cut these off of here really quick. But everything else I don't need, because I'm using the other brakes and I'm making a new control arm. I don't need the shock mount, I don't need any of it, just these bushings. Now we have these bushings cut off of here. All 4 of them. Now if I had a hydraulic press at this point, I would press these bushings out of here before I clean these up, but I don't. So what I'm going to have to do is kind of take my time cleaning these. That way I don't heat this rubber up and melt it and ruin the bushing. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to cut a little more off of this with this bandsaw. Now to cut some off of these, I'm not going to, you don't want to ever have your hands real close to that blade. If it breaks or whatever, you chop your fingers off very easily with this. Now what I need to do here, clamp that in there. Nibble a little bit off there. Get it kind of cleaned up a little better. Alright guys, what I've got here is I've got my bushings and bushing housings, whatever you want to call them, mounted up here. This is all welded. Basically I made a jig, so when I make both my control arms, they will be exactly the same. These right here are my bushings. I just made 2 sets of tabs that are the same. Put them on here. I figured out all my math. And if you notice that these are sitting a lot higher than this spindle is, that's how I want my A-arm to sit. When it's in the frame, it's going to sit like this, and the center is going to be higher. That's going to give me more ground clearance and help me out a lot. My spindle was here, and at first I tacked it to the table, but then I took a piece of bolt that I found that was the same size as the bolt that goes through this, and I welded it to the table. So when I cut this off, it'll slide off of this bolt, and my other spindle will go on there the exact same way. So now it's getting late. It's like 11. I got to work tomorrow. I'm going to get in here and shower and sleep. When I come out here tomorrow after work, I'll be able to just start making my control arm. First thing, I already got the jig made. I kind of messed up on my measurement somewhere, and I made these too long, so I cut them right here and took 2.5 inches out, and it made these pipes not meet up together. I did not feel like grinding and cutting these bushings and this end off and remaking all that, so I cut it right there, and I cut 2.5 inches out of it. Well, I butted them together and they did not meet up, so I made little pieces that go in here just to kind of get it together. Well, I'm not sure if it's going to be strong enough. It probably will, but, and I put this crossbar in here to keep these where they were at when I cut it. Now, I took a piece of cardboard and I've cut out a shape here, and that's going to plate all that in, strengthen it up, and it will give me something to make tabs off of for my shock mounts. Now I took this piece of cardboard here and I've traced out 2 pieces. I'm going to take it over my bandsaw and cut them out. Alright, now what I've done here is I've made a template out of cardboard. I made a mark here that goes to the edge of this, and my shock, I took a marker and stuck it in the center of my shock and made that mark of that arch. And then I stuck it at this edge right here and came up and made the top mark to cut it off. And the reason I done that is because I'm going to make a bracket with different sets of holes. I'm going to be able to adjust it to have different lengths of travel and different stiffnesses. I'm just going to put multiple sets of holes through there, and I'm going to have an adjustable mount just like my back, because I don't know what the spring rate of these are, and I don't feel like doing the math, and that I'll be able to adjust it for different types of riding or for different people or whatever I want. Alright, I pretty much got my suspension done here. I need to adjust the tie rods a little bit, get some paint on it. As you can see, it's rusting. It's been sitting here for a couple days. It's rained the last couple days. It actually works pretty well. It has a lot of travel. It's got a lot of bump steer. I'm going to have to play around with the steering a little bit and get rid of some of that bump steer, but I think it's going to work pretty well. From back here, you can see it moves a little bit. Now what I need to do is figure out how I'm going to mock my drivetrain up. I think I have about everything I need to make it work besides a back sprocket. For some reason this has a huge back sprocket on it. It looks like it's for 50 chain or 520, 530, whatever you want to call it. It's got a huge back sprocket on it for some reason. I can actually get a smaller sprocket for my drivetrain that I'm using to go to that. Let me show you what I'm going to use for an engine and drivetrain on this thing. Alright, I just went up to Harbor Freight and bought a new 212 Predator. As you can see, I haven't even started it yet. as you can see, I have something sitting underneath of it. I bought a reverse gearbox off of a buggy, and the pulley slides onto the shaft of it, and then if you look closely, hard to get a good camera angle here for it, but there is a sprocket right here that comes off of it, and that will run back to the back sprocket on my four-wheeler. There's also a lot of stuff that comes with this thing, like a set of cables and a cam, whatever you want to call it, that goes on that little spline shaft. The cables go to this, and that's how it shifts. There's also a lever that you can mount somewhere. Looks pretty cheap, but there's a lever right here that you can mount somewhere. But that's your forward, neutral, and reverse right there. It really don't feel as cheap as it looks, I guess. And it comes with brackets and bolts and hardware and all that fun stuff. Alright, I'm going to end this video here. In the next episode, we're going to get the motor and gearbox all mounted up and get most of this done. I appreciate you guys watching. Please throw a like on my video and subscribe to see more. Thank you. Have a good one.